Oh, yeah, thank you. Doing a true samba in Marga. Doing a true samba. Doing a true samba in Maricim Saji Lotimba. Doing a Kumbangola in Koshi, doing a samba, doing a samba, Nietzsche. Tambo Koshi, doing a samba, doing a J samba, true samba, son samba. Marga, doing a J Rusa, that's doing a true samba. Doing a true samba to the Lari, Pejana Neja Chujingo, Chujingo del Mando, could you Tango?
Okay. So first we'll begin. Once again, we're looking at Lama Tsongkhapa's great treatise on the stage of the path to enlightenment. And first we'll begin with looking at the outline in the section that we're dealing with. The section's major heading is Training the Mind in the Stage of the Path Shared in Common with Beings of Medium Capacity. So this is the major heading that we find under this category. And then when we turn to the various other parts of the outline, we find the identification of various types of suffering. So we'll begin looking at the outline on page 271. I just want to bring everybody through the pages where we have the actual meditation on suffering. So that's under that medium stages, major heading. So the actual meditation on suffering, we find there are two categories. First, reflection on the universal or the general suffering of cyclic existence. And then the second category, reflection on the specific sufferings or individual sufferings. So looking at that first category, reflection on the universal suffering or the general sufferings of cyclic existence, we'll find three categories under that heading. First, we have reflection on the 8 types of suffering. Second, we have reflection on the 6 types of suffering. And third, we have reflection on the 3 types of suffering. So we've already gone through the 8 types of suffering. And then today we're going to begin with the section on the 6 types of suffering. So we have the 6 types of suffering, which are the fault of uncertainty, the fault of insatiability, the fault of casting off bodies repeatedly, the fault of repeated rebirth, the fault of repeatedly descending from high to low, and the fault of having no companion. So I just read that part of the outline to identify those 6, and you find that on page 281.
Oh, that what the Dunga do some but the la. What the Dunga do some but what the Judge what the Sajini did, Nidan, Joe Son to Divisus. The Joe about Noche, Joe about Jet, Joe Son to Divisus, Joe the Mason or Madun, as you said. What the Sajini did do.
So Tambo Ngu, the actual, and then Nipa. In Nipa, the
Joe Son to Divisus.
Druce.
Joe the Mason.
Sum, right. Okay. So then, when we look at Jayan Sheba's commentary, we'll find that there are actually different categories that we find then in the Lamrim Chenmo. So we first find the category of the actual 6 types of suffering, and then the second category, which is the within the 6, the 3 points. So we'll find that later, and I might find a better translation for that second category in Jayan Sheba's commentary. But we find those 2 beginning with the actual.
Oh, that doing it true to what never maybe doing what the Sajil Sibu, never maybe doing it, Moba maybe doing it, Luyan Yadun doing it, Yan Sanje doing it, Tomat doing it, true maybe never. What the truth is,
Lesser.
Lesser.
So when we look at the 6 types of suffering, if we look at the outline, it's quite easy to understand and just to see those listed there. So we have the fault of uncertainty, the fault of insatiability, the fault of casting off bodies repeatedly, the fault of repeated rebirth, the fault of repeatedly descending from high to low, and then the fault of having no companion. So it's very clear there.
Oje Tata no dunga do somban do temba de jeba sheba do jeshi de la tat what the dunga do somban de bare dunga do somban la ngwa ta wala
Chishe ngo e wani.
wala
Ngo e wani ni sampa.
susu dunga somba ji tambula ale woni ul maro dunga to somba do talman do dunga to somba de insha ga ga yin bebe ang de bare sha nije juji ro nije juji ge ne tingul tinye badre ne ba dunga to somba as dunga to somba do wote wote ma isa dunga to somba as dunga to somba la mo nije juji re gol tin somba de somba ne ba dunga to somba nes wote dunga to nga zo tangha ji jang sa ro dunga to somba nes wote ma dunga to somba ne shidin de ba les dunga to somba ne shidin de ba ngom lu du shidin de ba le dunga dun son a ju sa ro de ba dun son bi shidin de ba dunga son dun son bi tamade susu dunga non du are te ba ja na wote lama tro tres tama susu dunga susu nyame yembe de to somba shaba shaos shedin rebel dunga sun dun son binane duba de susu dunga sans kon les dans duba ma sobache tombe tro tres to somba shaos what is it
Lesson.
tela ngeba mebe tela what do tempo do tempo du jin so de sare do tempo set do tempo de che do ne tro do du jin wo de shidin de bale du son ba de du ba de ba su ji ne me no du de zang du ba ma ze ne wo tro de tro son ba do de res son ba sha wo do tempo che du jin so do de sare ta je ba she ba tela jeba dala wante jeba dala wate tadun pongri je leon re ta jeba dala tala ngaba mebi nyeba nes zhu nan tambu ngaba mebi nyeba trawa ngaba mebi nyeba ne kuwa na pamala subi nye na tsara jen do dan ju xin dan na nye dun ju wa dan te jin do pa pan ju xin ne bo par ju wa dan ma chu man ju xin chu ma man ju wa su su rin ba jin pu ne ruwa kuna yin be yi den ruwa me ba yi den ruwa yi me ba te shidin lende ne pan bani chuma ni ju danju bayan shi ni dan du bani do chi tele do kuandala ngaba ngama chi she son sos ngama chi she son sos what about the what in the insarata
Lesson.
ngaba me bi ngaba tala what tsaro jen la ngaba meba tang, tsida la ngaba meba nyi je, tsaro jen, jiwa shima penji li wate dra tang, pa tang, ma tang, chuma tang, wate na ngaba yo ma res, ngaba yo ma, ta tangba to wate, jiwa shima la ngaba meba song de insa re, jiwa shima la ngaba meba ta kandar sana, kuwa na, pama la suba nye na, tsaro jen tu dran jo wa sa, jiwa shemal dene pamala suba tuso padang mala suba tuso ngalo susu jobo pama dang benja dang waib dang ano chudren dang wa tuso ngalo 서로 심한나서 잔주는 그래서 다차는 그래서 다 있는 말에 잔주신 잔나녀도 좋았어 자도서 그걸로 냐수주니 파마타 빈자로서 버던데 차용 그래서 내봐요 말 대신도 팔 번주신 네 파도 수수 벌제야 파도 신의 벌제야 되는 요지로부터 파 번주신 그 판조와다 버대야 신의 수수 판조야 판조와다 네 마초만 주신 마드 신의 수수 초마 차야 초마 만주신 초마 수수 만조와라 수비 림바진 표현해서 저와도 표현해 로 코나 임베 이대로와 이메바테스 저 심마 페이지를 자다니다 와도 그걸로 이대요 말레스 와데 파마다 마파다 와든 준는 로그레스 콩가르스나 몸으로도 셰딘레스 파는 번이 많은 초만이스 파도 버차야 많은 초마차 수수 마도 수수 와이브 찬데야
맞아.
되네 주 자주 봐야 시니 당스 자도서 그걸로 내 찬을 그랬었다 자도서 수수 파마다 빈자로서 버던자
맞아.
두번이 도서 시도서 그걸로 안 자찬데 어떤 면로
맞아.
두번이 또 치유 들레도스 코아다나 이젠 가마치 시송소스 어디 저셔만 페이지를 이대매버도 어디서 내봐 저셔만 페이지를 내봐다 선들 내봐니 사진은 이 내용도 다 저셔만 페이지를 내봐도 어떤다 어떠봐도 인사래
Then Rinpoche, the Do Demba, the Dudu She Dang, Jepa Shaba, the Ewa, the Su, the giant Sheba.
자지베
The giant Sheba, the Ewa Ni, the Ewa Tambo,
도 템바도 제바시바 니로 도 템바 두두지만 무도 누구들에
Lessa.
시딘제발레
Lessa.
등에 송송비 타만네 수수님이 힘베 안 담부 주도 등에 주더레스 도 템바 두두지는 송바더레스
You know, the giant Sheba, the Sache, the Lama Chiran, the Sache Ni, Ewa Ni, the Ewa Tambo, the Dudu She, then Jeba Shaba. Lama, the
뭐다 조송 되죠 사진이로
Lessa.
뭐도 되지시니
Okay, two chain.
되지시니
Okay, near the true. Okay, Selbudu, Kangala Tudu.
college
So I just I'm clarifying the outline just to make sure I'm not mixing anything up. So when we look at Giant Sheba's outline, we have, again, the actual 6, and then we have that second category, which are the 3 points within the 6, something like that. So that first category of the actual 6 has 2 categories. So the first category is a summary, or a condensed explanation. That's probably more a little condensed explanation. And then the second category is a broader explanation. So the first part, where it says reflection on the 6 types of suffering, we have that condensed explanation. So it says Mahamadi's clear words explanation of a friendly letter. So this is a commentary on Nagarjuna's friendly letter. Says that there are 7 types of suffering, but since the last merely restates states each of the faults, you should contemplate 6 types here. So this is a condensed explanation here. And then now we get into the broader explanation where we begin to list each of these points, and there's an explanation about them individually. So The fault of uncertainty. So this is the first among the 6 types of suffering. As you pass through cyclic existence, close relatives such as your father and mother become enemies in other lifetimes, while enemies become close relatives. Similarly, your father becomes your son your father, and your mother becomes your wife your mother. Since there is nothing but a succession of such transformations, there is nothing that you can count on. And then we have a quote from Nagarjuna's friendly letter. For those in cyclic existence, there are no certainties, because fathers become sons, mothers become wives, enemies become friends, and the converse happens as well. So here there is no certainty in our future lives in terms of what the relationships that we have now will become or transform into. Because here it says in our future lives, our father and mother, our relatives who we're very close to, become our enemies. And then our enemies then also become our parents, become our father and mother. And then it says, while our enemies become close relatives. Similarly, your father becomes your son, and your son your father. So we have that reversal of father and son. And your mother becomes your wife, and your wife your mother. So Rinpoche went back and repeated all of these and explained it. So your current mother in your future life becomes your wife, and your current wife in your future life becomes your mother. And as a translator's note, it doesn't mean in your next future life. It means in your future lives at some point in time, this role reversal will take place. So just as a translator's note. Since there is nothing but a succession of such transformations, there is nothing you can count on. So there is no certainty in terms of what your relationship will be with those that you have now in this life in your future life. So then we have Nagarjuna's friendly letter, where we have some examples of it that support the examples that were given. So it really depends upon our throwing karma, our propelling karma that puts us into our next life as to what we will be, who we will be. And then that basis will determine what these relationships are at that point in time. So this is what is explained here, and this is really speaking of future lives. So when we look at this fault of uncertainty, there are actually 2 categories: the fault of uncertainty of things in this life, and then the fault of the uncertainty in things in our future lives. So here we have this no certainty in our future lives, that our friends, our enemies, our relatives, our wives, we don't know what they will become in our future lives, and we will see that we can have this reversal that will take place, that our relatives and our friends become our enemies and so forth.
Regina Drayang, Zaun Jushin, Cindelayang, and Susu Drat Susu Jobuchayungres,
Lasso.
Susu Drat Susu Jobuchayungres,
Lasso.
Jobun Jushins,
Lasso.
Jobun Jushi, Drat Jobun Jushins, Kazangaso, the Majini Butuso, Jamini, the Japan to the Ari Dramarbe. That is not to grow, the Nazin what the Mamurja Yogrota. Regina Drayang, Zaun Jushins, Zaun Jushin, Zaoyang, Tejid Janjua, Cindelayang, Trubutang Dachandia, what the Nazumabukoya Yoro. Zaoyang, Danjurus, Tejin, Dayan Jurosa, Tejin Kaji Jana, Kaji Jana, Manjushin, Kaji Jana. Kaji Jana Baman Jushis Bama. Although the Dratanye to Kangolo Tanson, the Dratanye to Kangolo Bama Chanagres, Bama, Susu Tuboya Maiba, Dra Maiba, Nika Maiba Chanagres, Baman Jurosa, Bama Teni Jane, Dawun Jurus. Dratanya Kaya Mayami Kansa to the young Dachayonga. Dachama, Dendrios, Dawun Juro. Tijin Zashin Joasa. Dratanya Kaya Mayami, the young Baruji Dacha, Baruji Tobuchayong,
Lesser.
Zashin Joa. Rine, Zashin Joa. Tetabi Nesu, Tone, Nesu, Rine, Ludu Dembis, now Judah Neba, Shiro Yoba Ina, Ludu Dembe, Naya, Chamaja, Ludu Dembe, and what the Chabaji Yomari, Daniel Neba Yomari, what the Chabaji Yomari, son desert, Chamaja, Niela Gai, Senji. Not two tasks, near like Susu Trouble to the guy, and then not to Toba Jungurota, not to ta, Dune, Gula Cheddar Jabashasa, Susu near like Gai, Toban de Shah control the Shala Suba to the Gane, what the Dune Gawal sent Gawal Jagures,
Lesser.
Gula Jabasha. Chidr Jabasha, Chidr Killa, Chidr Jabasha, Gawala, what the Jagures, something there. She is some but terrorists, she is some but Dragone, she is some but Dragone, and then she is some but Mozang Shibindul, some but Dragone, Daniela Risucene, Chapa dance, Jalasu Giants and Jucent Shene, Lunaya. Nian Susu Nian, you sent in Chabajaya, what the Digo Machapatan, Damajibat Kagures, Dala, and then Magai Jucent in Kundut Kagure, Nian Lagai Jucent in Chabat Kagure, Gades, Ku Chula, Lutesa Kaya, Member Tela, Joasha. Kuchula, Tabi, never maybe what the San Dende Santana, and then Yanung Samba, Kantu to Achumajic was Joasha, whatever things are.
Okay, so the next quote deals with in this life. So it says, even in this life, enemies become friends and vice versa. So the Tantra requested by Sabahu says, so this is the fault of the suffering, which is the fault of uncertainty in this life. Within a short space of time, an enemy can become a friend, and a friend can become an enemy. Likewise, either one may become indifferent, while those who are indifferent may become enemies or intimate friends. Knowing this, the wise never form attachments. They give up the thought of delighting in friends and content to focus on virtue. So it says, within a short space of time, an enemy can become a friend. So within this life, in a very short period of time, those who are our enemies can be transformed into our friends. And we see examples of this where in the world wars that we've had, now we are friends with Germany. Now we are friends with Japan, where before we waged war against them, but now they are our allies. They are our friends. So we see how that relationship changed. And then when we look at this next line, likewise, a friend can become an enemy. And we know in our own lives many examples of this, where those who we thought were our friends became our rivals or our enemies. And then the next line says, likewise, one may become indifferent. So that's speaking of neutral. Being indifferent to someone is, we have these three categories of people, friends, enemies, and neutrals. And those that are neutral to us do transform as well. So it says either one may become indifferent, while those who are indifferent may become our enemies or our intimate friends. So even those neutral parties transform in the future, just like the enemies and intimate friends can transform into neutral parties. Knowing this, the wise never form attachments. So by knowing that this is the state of being and knowing that our friends, enemies, and neutrals are always changing, even in this life, it doesn't make sense to form an attachment towards or become angry with something that is someone that is our enemy, because there really isn't a static position that they hold as any of those specific things. Knowing this, the wise never form attachments. They give up the thought of delighting in friends and are content to focus on virtue. So that is what is meant by that. And Rinpoche, the Chiran the cheek Jason, the Chiran the chapa and control. Gari cheap Gari Lobsang. The kepa, the chapa. I gotta look at it.
That
Okay, there. So what is the reason that we have to meditate on this? It's because in relation to our friends, we become attached. In relation to our enemies, we become angry. And then, Parme, Gari Yongdu, Maripa. Jane Parma Sum. Dra, the control Yongdu. Ne, the Chapa Yongdu. Parme. Oh, that's so. And then sometimes those neutral beings transform into those who are intimate friends and then those who are enemies.
This one.
The Dixon.
Jiwa Shaman Susu Pate, Machaya, Mapomacha, Popomacha, Danye Chaya, what the Nabayo Mares, the Tambutritum de, the Tambutje, what the Jiwa Shaman Penjit, then Cindelina, then what the Nabayo Mares, Cindelina, Dratanyeta. What Sukan Nabayo Tanga Suaguero, that Cindele. No sounds of trouble again, Dachano, Danye Chano, what then the Cindeling about your mothers, the Ponzong should do the Jangua. Never, maybe never the Chioshama Pajil, never, maybe never done Cindele, never, maybe never Ni Santando, Ni Indushan.
So when we look at this fault of uncertainty again, there are two categories of this uncertainty. First, the suffering, which is the fault of uncertainty in this life, and then the second category, which is the fault of uncertainty in our future lives. The fault of uncertainty in this life, in our future lives, so we'll look at it in the way that the book presented it. So it first presents it as the fault of uncertainty in our future lives. So in our future lives, our friends of this, for instance, our parents of this life can become, so our father, for instance, in this life can become our mother. Our mother could become our wife. Our enemy can become our friend. So we can see that all of these relationships in our future life will be different and can change. So they aren't static based on what they are currently in this life. So this is the point of the uncertainty of our future lives, is that we have no certainty in what those relationships will be. And then we have the fault of uncertainty in this life, and the points that are made here is that our friends, even in this life, can become our enemies, and our enemies, even in this life, can become our friends, and then our neutrals can transform into either one of those things. And we have many examples in our own experiences that can support that fact. So these are the 2 points that are made in relation to the suffering of this life and our future lives, and specifically the suffering which is the fault of uncertainty. Dixon.
What the never, maybe never do the send the needed when you Sishima painting about me, Sindling about me, Sishima painting about me about the sheeting load down the water, Mulu sheeting, Sindling about me about what the hood. Umozong should do the John Marbe. What they need to that needed was that woman, she maybe near battle or Mamuduta, Niba, Moba maybe near battle. 네 라리 쳔모 그런 지로다 뭐바 매비냐 바스 뭐바 매비냐 바들 데 이제 아집에 어디 들 지유스 지 뭐바 매비냐 바들 지유아레스 제제 아니 뭐바 매비냐 바들 지유아레스
Rinpoche, chutsu jid on drop of this. Okay, we're going to take a short break and give out some things. And
what the neighbor member doing it through the neighbor maybe never, over maybe never. That neighbor maybe never tell us Chema Pagil and Naba member, not Sunday Nabama, to say need war. Tang over maybe never the Lord did such Janji Saji J. J. Over maybe never the Saji J. Jig non tombatere, that jig non tombate, jig non tombate, what the over maybe never Nessa. Geshe Lharampa yi oma tonte tadon suzu yi ju jeso dan yu kowa yu zmaro kowa yu te Chenmo ji tongce lo shi sentient re jang ane sentient re jang Hami Mendwa, Hami Noju Zang, Tongwa Dang, Dadong Yang, and Tabi Lang La, Mala Dang, Jazang Tongwa Joa, Sambos, what the Moba maybe never to Battery, Tangoba maybe never Terry, what Tangoba maybe never ne. That's a generate the Jasu Zil Habi. Then Oma Tonte Oma Tongo sang Joel Toma Mare, Joel Toma Maba Yinza, and what the Mazu Pami Oma Mago Oma Tonga, what the Jasu Labaton Tonte Tadon Yang Ju Jesun Zhang Yu, Jesun Zhang Yu, Kwa Yu. Tili Chenmo, Tadun yang wote taba matu jibato, taba matu na tadun kuwa li jiwa len, pami woma tong, mai woma tong wote tongu jigar wota. Ni tong de ni zhongce lo shi, sentient re jang hami neju, sentient re jang hami neju, jitang tong wa dans. An jiwa toma man tati bato wote, 마고마 같이 통 재산 통화다 다동야 타바마토바 이나 타발라 타비랑라 말라나 재산 통화 좋아 재산 통화 좋아 셈바오스 어때 타비네 주디 하네 하서 산타바도 모바메베 되게 지르나네 담부트레스 야
So when we go back to the first type of suffering among the six, we have the fault of uncertainty. So then we have the presentation of the uncertainty in our future lives, and then we have the uncertainty in this life itself. Then we get to the next category, the fault of insatiability. Actually, let me just read down through this. By meditating on this, you should check the arising of attachment and hostility that come from discriminating between friends and enemies. Be aware that among the phenomena of cyclic existence, absolutely nothing can be trusted. Become disenchanted. So this is generate a desire to emerge, generate renunciation. So before the break, I had to go through that. So then we have the fault of insatiability. Then we have Nagarjuna's friendly letter as a first point. And in this section, we have just one category that Lama Tsongkhapa presents. But Jayan Sheba's outline itself, we find 8 categories that he's going to go through. So the first category deals with Nagarjuna's friendly letter and the amount of milk that we've drunk in our beginningless rebirths. So it says each of us, so from Nagarjuna's friendly letter, each of us has drunk more milk than would fill the 4 oceans, yet those in cyclic existence who act as ordinary beings are intent on drinking still more than that. Think about it. Each living being has drunk so much mother's milk in the past, and yet without training on a path to liberation will drink that much again in the future. So what this is saying is that since beginningless time we've had births. So since beginningless time we have drank our mother's milk. So if we were to add that amount of milk up, it would be a very large amount. And it says then that would fill the 4 oceans. Now, if we are not working towards liberation, then we will certainly in the future have to drink more milk again, meaning we will have to be born into cyclic existence over and over and over again. So this example of the milk is given, and then this is the first category of Jayan Sheba's outline. The Ming, the Sache J, the Ming Tambo
Sache J Tambi Mitre Jasu Jil Habi Jasu Jil Habi what the Jasu Jil what the means not all what the Okay,
so the first category is literally called we have drunk more milk than would fill the 4 oceans.
And
if we do not engage in a pathway leading to liberation, we will certainly drink more in the future.
Tā ngōpa mēbē nyēpa ndere duwa kui dudu ki ngōpa tāng sōpa mē sui nē sā kui duwa tāng dōngē ki yote ngōpa yo ma re kui duwa kazi chōna ngōpa yo ma re duwa kazi chōna ngōpa yo ma re sirwa dudu ki ngōpa tāng duwa kazi chōna ngōpa yo ma re Dunga kazi chunaya sunpa meba dunga kazi chunaya tanda suyang mares wata nga dunga dil gabu mudu samba chiki shira suyang mares sunpa me suyne ane wata nipa tanda re tagi de shuku tadung tabi lala mala na jazang tongan juwa Samba was the Tambuche, Tambuchi, Gomba, maybe never jig on Tambuche. Tiny Bandanere didn't swimba Zantes, didn't swimba Zante, Nengoba, maybe Jasuji Lab, Omatom, Goba, maybe said, Swimba Zantes, Swimba Zante, Kui Pensudan, Dunela, Kui Pensudan, Kui Pensu, May Pensu Subatan, High Pensu Subala Suba, Kui Pensudan. Dunga kui dunga de nyoja de manyu she kui pansu ta na dunga de manyu she yo mara nga so nyu chabres na kui pansu mamu nga so toyo are jewa thoma ma nga so 하용 참바다 제진로 수 도술진의 평소 수고 마음 차요 와레스 어디 녀와 찬여 잔여로 수 도술진의 등행 가서 뭐 뇨차요 와레스 등행데 바주바 매비 추산에서 이 조화샤고 돼서 대답이 추산에 어디 küdungen ngabanju nganju sambat kanjeje jegores 조화샤 고데스 도와라 lonje bane 이 침비시 이나스 도와라 lonje 바데 나 소술 가보요 이 침비시도 도와를 베제 제고 와레스 침비시 이나 시비 도와네 제단 lonje 장스 도와까지 베제 제바 이나야 되는 생각이 말레스 Zula tembi dawa, drala tembi dawa, trila tembi dawa, rola tembi dawa, rejala tembi dawa, kazi pejan sheba ina tandi sun samba yo mares, tso yo mares, jetan she jang, ngoba membi shir, siba pyo jo shins, ngoba memba yin sun san, trila tenne, docha pyo ngores, docha, siba pyo jo shins, 대장 코아린도 되차도 어때 페바 인소선 대주셔발 때네 and the call time about you, call chant the grace, call Kujo and the grace, but you need to chant and the water daki Chazan Toyan, the water daki Chazan Toyan, Mepebi, the nation to Zukawa, the nation to Zukawa now, Tibato, Member, Nuan Joros, whatever the no grace, whatever
Nipa.
the neighbor is. Chenmo is that core not the was or what didn't much Judah.
Okay. So Lama Jayan Sheba has 8 different categories. So again, the first category is the amount of milk we've drunk could fill the 4 oceans. So now we get into the next point. So it says about the last point about the milk that this is just an example. When you reflect on how you have no lack of experience with the wonders and the suffering of cyclic existence, you should become disenchanted. You indulge in pleasures in pursuit of satisfaction, yet with worldly pleasures you are never satisfied no matter how much you enjoy them. Hence, after time your craving grows, and on that account you wander for ages in cyclic existence. So here, no matter what, we are never satisfied. So since beginningless time, we've had these varieties of experiences. We've had all forms of excellent things. We've had all forms of suffering and pain. So for instance, when we were in the humans' realms and in the gods' realms, we were able to have many forms of excellence. So excellence here is just a translation of excellent things, but it's translated excellence a lot of times. So we've had a lot of these things in the gods' realms, we've had a lot of these things in the human realms. And then when we look at the various sufferings that we've had to endure, we've had to endure the sufferings of the hot hells, had to endure the sufferings of the cold hells. So we've had all of these varieties of experience since beginningless time. But no matter how much excellence we acquire, we're never satisfied, and we're always in dependence upon craving, born again into cyclic existence because of that dissatisfaction and that craving that lingers even after we get what we're looking for or what we want. So this is the second point that's made about this lack of satisfaction no matter what the pleasures are, and that we've had every form of suffering as well when we look at the fact that we've had this satisfaction in terms of happiness that was always fleeting and then turned into dissatisfaction. So we have these various cravings and for the various forms, and cravings for sounds, and cravings for smells, and cravings for tastes, and cravings for tactile sensations. But no matter what, and no matter how much we acquire, we aren't satisfied. So in dependence upon that, we have to circle and are reborn again and again. So this is the fault of insatiability. And I think that's it. Dixon.
What the neighbor to the didn't tremble on the Q pencil down, doing a lie, doing a land manu, she shall maybe choose son, he joa shall good this. Joa to mamma and Tatiba to what the one pencil to Bangasu manu by your mare, doing a manu by your mare, to Santan, Santane, Nanu somebody by Chigures. Dwala long jebene he timbishin us dwala bejo jade na susuli gabu yunga che timbishe dures in us sibi dwane ne ku dwan jezan long she jan zodala subata rejala subata jezan long she jan timba maybe sher and timba maybe tule docha pe yungres siba pe wan joshin Seba ya dosha sheshe shadon teki joshe balatene koala jurin to chane ane dewa teda ki chatanya ma pepe ane dewa teda le labi wote donge shinto zoba kawa na tuipa to meba nyungwan juros wote pa nibare disha ta shedin se tenma somba re disha somba.
Okay, then a the kanga nipa, then a sheting gutso, then a sumba. So then the second point reads through to where I'm going to read through. So the point is that in dependence upon craving, we will have to be born for a very long time in cyclic existence. So that it begins when you reflect on how you have no lack of experience with the wonders. So the thing I'm translating as excellence, they're translating as wonders. So wonders and sufferings of cyclic existence, you should become disenchanted. So knowing that you have had all of these things over and over again and are never satisfied should allow you to generate renunciation, generate the desire to definitely emerge. So it says, become disenchanted. So that's what that's referring to. You indulge in pleasures in pursuit of satisfaction, yet with worldly pleasures you are never satisfied no matter how much you enjoy them. Hence, time after time, your craving grows, and on that account you wander for ages through cyclic existence. For an immeasurably long period of time you will experience intolerable suffering, which those pleasures will not ameliorate even in the least. So then we have a quote from the Friendly Letter, and that's where the third category of Jayan Sheba's outline begins. So all of that I just read is all under the second category.
Ta somba wate kuyi dewa la zene jindu jebe matsin basa zene jindu jebe matsin basa kuyi dewa to wate nzese na nga su lui nasa juyo lui nasa zubul ma cha de ten ji lu ga sa ju ro wo de sa ro ma bla ne ten mel ten ba ina ne wo de ji phe ga sa ba yo khu du ga de le chen ro ja ga res ane khu de wa de ne ji du je be khu de wa de ne ji du je be de ne ji du je be ma chen ba de ne chen bu je tu ne sa she din le se de ne chen bu je tu she din le 저게 나서 서로에 나서 줘로도 멀때바이나 등에 쳤는 하고 줘로 전나지 와서 가서 그도 와들래 내가 저게 나서 남을 시딘레스 제단전에 신비냐 바이 냐바네 제단전에 신비냐 바네 대유도 말락 군대장 쇼만주더니 나와네 저번날라 차방어 첨번주사 저거 나사 수사로랑데 도데 코사로랑들 차비치도 멀땡고 어서 멀땡들 tel에 동에 춘주사 그래서 부터나지 안에 저던라와 저번날라 차방어 첨번주 차비용하게 네 대화 베제지야 대화 텐다 버스 코까지 베제지 나와데 뭐요 말스 tellatene wote dogen yongore somsa chembanju wote badreja wala
this mingare Jayan Sheba
wote so
sumba ming
ku dewan zene jindu sa ku dewa sansara happiness reba ku dewa de wote zig nasara ndamres
okay
zene so log nasa juro zene jindu example jebe wote 칭아요 뭐요 칭거 말레스 tellatene wote ne chimichi yongres
okay
shedinles shedin lodana wote insa shedin lodin de wote ledo.
So the next point is that this suffering of insatiability is like a leper who seeks fire for relief. So this is the third category. So it's basically is like a leper that seeks fire for relief. So the Friendly Letter states, so this is Nagarjuna's Friendly Letter, just as a leper tormented by maggots turns to fire for relief, but finds no peace, so should you understand attachment to sensual pleasures. So the pleasures of cyclic existence cause you to become attached and so forth. And then as a result you suffer. Just as a leper who has maggots thinks that it will cause some sort of happiness by burning them, and it all only causes more suffering. So this is the point that's made here in number 3, is that there is no peace that's found when one chases after sensual pleasures. The pleasures of the form, of the form of sound, taste, smells, tactile sensations.
What the Chenmo what the Somba Rendo Somba.
Sumba.
Chenmo Chenmo Song du le. What the Janji but Katul Teji Jando, what the Chetan Song du Ulman Trading and Ramajidua. Tayina Chibuti, Pashin Duba to what the Shiba Reshiba. Pashin Duba to the Resha.
Okay.
Tea Dunda to what they Dunda Katan was na Nashin to Jawa, Sukawa Tabi Dunganasa, Nashin to Jawa, and the Nasa Chabo, and the Chakabo, Sukawa Tabi Dungan. Qual dunga and you but then passing duba the song you are passing duba. Donation to Jawa song do nation to Chibumarbe, Sukawa's Chakawa, nation to Chiwa, Ne Chakawa, Sukawa, Tabi, Kui Dungene, and then what they passing duba the song Banaji Resita. Passing duba legend, passing duba legend. Alle ting is sort of Passion Duba Resha, Passion Duba Legend She Sonsa. Ta Passion Duba Letter, Passion Duba Le, Deba Tata Tuba Dance, Deba Tata Taku Deva, Deva Panson Suba Mobutua Euro, May Panson Suba, May Deva, High Panson Suba, to Mobutua Euro, Tuba Dance. Niji Jindu Temba Tang, Dewala Temba Tang, Monto Sabi Mongunas, Monte Sabi Monguna, and then Jujala no Munda to Kazi and Mobayo Maruta, Mongunasa, Tele Nature Kanji, Tele Nature Kanji, or Moba maybe Tatabi doing a Telechewa. Ne chokane yu mares roa o the loti
Syndrome. Well, the long knee put
Passion Duba je
then it's Syndrome.
Jibaro Tangaba to what they Naba the Tereja Naba loti the Nabaresha Naba.
Oh, they're loading Syndrome.
Loading Nabarendo.
Okay.
Passion Duba the Jibare. Yeah.
So then the next category, the 4th category, is the quote from the Compendium of Perfections. So it says, also in the Compendium of Perfections it is said, you want what you want, you get what you want, you use it up, then acquire more, and still you are not satisfied. What could be sicker than this? So it's comparing this desire to get more and more things, and the dissatisfaction even when you get them, to a great illness. So saying that it's like an illness, that you crave these things and want more and more and are never satisfied. So that's the 4th category. And then the 5th category we'll get into Chandra Roman's letter to a student.
Yes, man. What the routine letters
Gongo maybe. So no matter if you acquire, for instance, the wonders of the humans, I forgot one thing, even if you acquire the wonders or the excellence of the humans, or the wonders or the excellence of the gods, you won't be satisfied no matter what within cyclic existence. So this is the suffering that is the fault of insatiability. It's this dissatisfaction with no matter what you get, if it is within cyclic existence.
Passion duba le jang to what the
Lobsang.
da tuba dan da ku doa da tuba da ni chen temba dan doal temba dan mo to sabe mo ba dan tele ne cho kan shi yus da bi ne tele chi dungen kan ne yus what about what de ja jiba din sa sumbare.
So the third category, which is the compendium of perfections, is to really talking about the happiness of cyclic existence, getting what you want within cyclic existence, some form of happiness of cyclic existence, and then using it up, and then acquiring more. And still, after you're getting more and more things, you are not satisfied. And then it says, what could be sicker than this? And this is, again, the third category. We get into Chenrezig's letter to number...
That don't know what the
Jiba Lotin.
Jiba Lotin, there was Lotin, what the red was Lotin. Lotin less. Jiba what the Jiba Lotin le jans, Lotin le jan, Roa Lanja Masun, Roa Kanji Yusa, Roa Lanjar Masun, Rut Kanji Yus, Khensur Rinpoche Manu Doa de Kanji. Ngay Kanji Tabi Pegam Matuba, Tayan Kanji Yuena, Yuenjang, Le Chape, Khensur Rinpoche Manu na dunga te mi Khensur Rinpoche Manu dunga te mi Roa Kangi Chinjur Doba Tata me Kangi Toma Nyobi sentient te me na Yuenjang Chetar Kwa Bala Chade me Chesong Batar Sansos or Tebatulote Jiba.
So Chenrezig's letter to a student makes number 4. What being has not come into the world hundreds of times? What pleasures has not already been experienced countless times? What luxuries, such as splendid white yak-tail fans, have they not owned? Yet, even when they possess something, their attachment continues to grow. There is no suffering that they have not experienced many times. The things they desire do not satisfy them. There is no living being that has not slept in their bellies. So why do they not rid themselves of attachment to cyclic existence?
Rut Kanji is called Joala, the Dwanya, the Mendoa. Tangwenji, Lemon Manu, the Wat Kanjis, Nenji, Joa Toma Maban Tatiba, the one you manuva, the Waji Yomaris, the Wat Kanjis. Nayo Kanji Tabi, Nadu Kanji Tabi, Begam Matuba, Tayan, Nayo Penzi Tabi, Begam Matuba, Taba Matuba to sing Serta, Taba Matuba to Tayan, Kanji Yuena, Yuenjang, Chabapi, Taba Matuba to what the Luchaji, what the Suyena, what the Chabat Piungres, Chaba Pies, Khensur Rinpoche Manu, Donge to use, Khensur Rinpoche Manu Manu Donge Maris, Donge to me. Roa Gangi Tinjur Dobata Mess, Roa Gangi, Quincy Doa Momu are the Jun Tinyo Maris.
That's so.
Doa known as Tinsaji Yomaris. Roa Gangi Tinjur Dobata Mess, Doa Yomaris. Gangi Toma Nyoyu, Sentient Mess. Kangi toma mani dungeta da mesa.
Sentient Kanga the Trogo Nikusun.
What viji things
Trogo Nala Nikirsun.
What do you marisita? Yuja Chitara Kobala Chade mess. When you titabi dunga, you are the Taduya, the Kobala to Chade you maris. She is on but Tar Sans was what about the inside.
So the fifth, what being has not come into the world hundreds of times? So it's here showing this, having been born hundreds of times, it says here. So since beginningless time there has been birth. What pleasure has not already been experienced countless times? So we have experienced in that beginningless rebirth every type of pleasure that there is to experience, and we still have a lack of satisfaction related to that. So what luxury, such as a splendid white yak-tail fans, have they not own? So we've owned everything there is to own through these series of rebirths, yet even when they possess something, their attachment continues to grow. So even though there's something there, the attachment is still ever growing. There is no suffering they have not experienced many times. The things they desire do not satisfy them. So even you have a desire for something, and then you finally get it, and it doesn't even satisfy you. It doesn't make you, it doesn't satisfy you. There is no living being that has not slept in their bellies, so why do they not rid themselves of attachment to cyclic existence? Why do they not generate a desire to definitely emerge?
That Trubat meet the Tagan to Trubat, Shinto Dunga Takawa, Tamebasa, Shinto Dunga Tabarkawa, and Tabakawa. And Tameba, and to New York is what the truth, what the Trubat is the name, Trubat the back. Truba, what the name? Trubat and the Resha. Truba, what the Trubat Resha, Jean Yangasawalis, Sumba Tar Son and Shinto Joan Judesa, what then Mata Truba Jean Yangasawale Sumbatar Tanto Dojandi, Yangasawale Sumbatar Sanane, Shinto Joan Yangasawale Doli Sumbi, Tunaji San Tambaina, and calling Najun Sambachi was Joan Jutes. Yado, Nyawana, Sanju Kudan, Sanju Kugan, Tongadan, Jatunaki, Chulayan, Ti Chatan, Yomains, Chatan Papa, Jobana. Mazangwan Gan Suba, Ri Lambo ne Chili Shinto Labanjuros, Zashi Rado Tawais, Ku Nensu Kang Muba, Miki Chime Tibai, Nadu Jaso Romain. Pensu Tatu Chibisher, Go Chiba Kaimba, Bona, Teta Toane, Sambi Jiden Le Jantal, Simbo Chujin, and Rosibe, Salu Seba, Kanyaba, Oveja So Chenato, Te Kana, Shinduki, Shesomba Taros, what about the Mendo Atabato? Dumba Marva,
Drupa.
Druba.
So now it says, think about this. So now we get into point number 6. And it's from the Alleviating Sorrow. So this is a sutra. And it says, furthermore, you will become very disenchanted with cyclic existence if you reflect on what the Alleviating Sorrow, the Soka Vinyadana says. What this says is you will become disenchanted. You will want to definitely emerge from cyclic existence if you reflect on the points made in this text. So it says, again and again in hells you drank boiling liquid copper so much that even the water in the ocean does not compare. The filth you have eaten as a dog and as a pig would make a pile far more vast than Mount Meru, the king of mountains. On account of losing loved ones and friends, you have shed so many tears in the realms of cyclic existence that the ocean could not contain them. The heads that have been severed from fighting one another, if piled up, would reach beyond Brahma's heaven. You have been a worm, and having been ravenous, you ate so much sludge that if you were poured into the great ocean, it would fill it completely. So this is point number 6.
That's one.
That's
Oh yeah, that one they are Chajilu Namara. Yeah, Nyangasawa, the Sumba Tarasana, Shinto Juanju, this Nyangasawa, doing one to the Sumba, some Tamba in our day, Nanu Samba Jingres, Yanda Yanto, what is Shadam Kakapumudua, Yanda Yanto, Nyana, Sanjun Kua, Kantomba, Jasunaki, Cholayans, Taka the new one, what is truth. Sanya Queen Kuma Tua would the Jasule Lava Chayo or Sangasu Chun Mamutonza is Jasunaki Chulayan. Ti Tetan, Yoma is Yuan Jene, Jatan, Santan to say June, Kuma Chunaji the Tua, what the Jasu Chule Lava Mazuton Yoris. Chetan Papa Jobana, Mazanwan Kansuba, Ti Humbo. Tabu Chile Givanjus, Chetan Papa Genevate, Tubasa, what to say, Seba in a rage of a earlier guitarist, Marbe, Tabanjurosa. Zashi Roto Treva is Ku Nesu, Kangaba, Susu Jobutan Trainer, Pamazan Trainer, and then Gune Mig Chute, Kangaba. Miki Chime and Tibai how to Jato Roma Jasule Lava Chasa Yoris, Masungune, and then Miki Chutu de Jasuga Masumba Chasaris, Jatu Nomai, Pensu Data Jubisher, Pensu Data Jubisher, Pensu Data Jubisher, that Daro, Manzia to 0. Goji Bakayamba. Puna, the Tertoa, Chambi Jiden Legend tells Joba the man of Tenzin and the Susunguji Shabangoka Punjana, Chambi Jiden again the Resita. Simple Jujin, Rasi Besa, Tambachan, and Betuk Saturn Salusa Wizarota. Salut Subakayamba, Momi Jasu, Chikando, Tikana Shindu King, Sheson Batar, whatever the Resha.
So it's easy to understand, but Rinpoche said to just read it through one more time. Again and again in hells you drank boiling liquid copper, so much that even the water in the ocean does not compare. So the amount of this liquid copper, just in this one realm of existence that we drank, wouldn't even be able to be held by the great ocean. The filth you have eaten as a pig and as a dog would make a pile far more vast than Meru, the king of the mountains. So when we were in the animal realms, when we were dogs, when we were pigs, we ate a lot of filth. If we were to pile that filth up, it would be higher than the Mount Meru. On account of losing loved ones and friends, you have shed so many tears in the realms of cyclic existence that the ocean could not contain them. So once again, all of the tears that we have shed in all of our lives would be more than the ocean water. So it says the ocean would not contain them. The heads have been severed, that have been severed from fighting one another, if piled up, would reach beyond Brahma's heaven. You have been a worm and have been ravenous. You ate so much sludge that if it were poured into the great ocean, it would fill it completely. So that's just reading it through one more time. Excuse me, and that's point number 6.
That Dumba Teresa Dumba Hajilu, Luzonges, and the Yamalangazu Luzombo 2 years, and Yamba 2 years, Luzonga, Zonga, Drama 2 years. The Suknalong as a Pesci to your mother, choosing to your Tula Chinsabres, choose about Tantis, they Tanguris, Mariba, Tante, Shantula, Mabeba, no what they tend to do Shantu to be cheto, Mazum Bayo Mares, somebody what they done the Matanga Dusa, they that a Dombuka was what in Resha. What they doing but Dombuka was.
So number 7 deals with the array of Stalk Sutra. It says, remember the infinite bodies which in the past you wasted senselessly on account of desire. Now in this life, truly seek enlightenment. Take up disciplined conduct and thereby destroy desire. Remember the infinite bodies which in the past you wasted senselessly on account of desire. As many times as there are grains of sand in the Ganges, you failed to please the Buddhas and ignored their teachings such as this. Then the indicate the shloka ni. Then Dumba shloka nika.
Dumba tata Dumbu Kabala what in the re. Dumbu Kabales, Churchin Dojo, Deme, Chusambis, Churchin Dojo, Nangarun Deba, and the maid the water high the water what to say Jero, Dojuro. Deme to the Nasu turned up Vijay to your mothers, Chusambi, Churchin Huji, Takan Transit, and the choose Nasu Joa Toma Tatiba to what the maid the water high the Mutu or what the Nasu. Pen to was Vijay to your mother, choose Chinsaber, Tula Chinsaberes, choosing Huji, Takan, the double the Chinese, the double the China, transit there. Ne Terin Shanchu Terin Shanchu Yongsu, Dujo Dan, Shanchu Sanji Gomutuba, Tabatubish, Dujo Dan, Jinder, Dujo Jene, Debatsu, Chuji, Dunjuro, Demen Chusebe, Ne Luijin Huji. 타강 전시대 강기신이 네바 마지신사 든들이 송강 상지레 마투 셰송바타 왔네 때면로다 네바 제바들도 제바 제바 대다 뉴아 제제 담바 고민 송진 제주네 오시에노데 류바레드 제바레드
Kagi. Chishina de Shuluka Nika Chishina Dunba. Then a Jepa Sampa CP Ponsok.
Jeba Drova Jeba.
Chikshena de Jeba, CP Ponsok, de Jeba, CP Ponsok.
Jeba de Shinga said Shinga Jeba. Shinga says Adu.
Shingawa Jeba.
What the Jebare?
Ale, then a Dumba.
Then it about Dumba and Dua. Dumba to what the Dombu Kobi Dole, Churchin de Jutame, Chusenbi, Huji, Luigi, Huji, Takan, Transhitis, Ninkenshing also made the water Laido Motuare, the Sutan Pentu Pujeji to Mare, Pula Tan Sabres, the Tabinet to the Tanguris, Dumba the Shade, Luigi, Huji, Takan, Transhitis, the Rin Shanchu used to do Tan, Shanchu used to do Tan. 네, 두주 사주 고모토 비셔도 냐내지야 되네지로. 진들 두주제는 더버츠스 두주제는 어때 더버 사주 고모토 더버 추고 더버 총으로 봐. 총 최진도주 되면 주세베스 그런 더버 그걸로 메이도 하이도 그걸로 네 출라 당사버 주세비 르진 후지 타강 transites 후지 메이도 하이도 와도 저주토바가 출라 당바도 챵바시고레스 강기 신이 네바 마지신스 강가 이셔마스 리베 강가 리베 말베 대우들레 강기 셔마로 셔망가 타다냐바 신이 냐바 마지시스 냐바 마지신스 dendri sunkan sanjile matu dendri sunkan sanjile matus kangi shematan kangi shene neba majishins sakante wate sanju gumo tubi jeto wate kangi shematan naji wate nasu wate beju gonje nyale je mares dendri sunkan sanjile Tidabi sont de changer le tueur, Maris, changer le mature. Chez son bâtard, ça. Si bi pensu jene je tout chance, si bi pensu me dawa dans, hai dawa kane je tout va inaya, tout chance, what is the me dawa lugre, hai dawa lugres, lubatans, demain bi, demain pas. Holiness, demain pas demain pas, non, le pas demain pas, tu sais pas, le pas demain pas, demain, j'ai ça, t'as donné, Mahoubana, le pas demain pas, demain, tu as n'est de train couris. Pas demain pas, tu sais pas, train par chat. T'as donné, ma bénasse. 다도야 타바다 탄지샤바다 데르나 도술 마베나 데르 나마나 인조그레스 유 추산라 네 쪼아제바 샤오스 와데바데.
So again, this is all of number 7 from the array of stock sutras. Remember that infinite bodies which in the past we wasted senselessly on the account of desire, now in this life truly seek enlightenment, take up disciplined conduct, and thereby destroy desire. So independence upon desire, independence upon attachment. We have had to be born again and again in cyclic existence, and the reason for these infinite bodies that we've taken on since beginningless time is desire, is attachment that we have had. And if we wish to become enlightened, we have to destroy that attachment. Remember the infinite bodies which in the past you wasted senselessly on account of desire. As many times as there are grains of sand in the Ganges, you failed to please the Buddhas and ignored their teachings, such as this. Since beginningless time, we haven't engaged in the practices that we needed to be free from this circle, and therefore we are still in it. Even if you gain the vast wonders of cyclic existence, so even if you had the excellence of the humans, those excellence of the gods, they would be illusory. They wouldn't be real Bear in mind the countless bodies you have wasted in the past experiencing limitless and pointless suffering. Consider that it will continue this way unless you make an effort to put an end to it. Develop a sense of disenchantment. So here, develop a desire to definitely emerge, to develop or realize renunciation because you have analyzed and familiarized yourself with this cycle and with this specific fault. And then we get into number 8, and we have a quote from Jengawa that we'll get into. Chu Jengawa Lung Lamas. Okay. Chu Jengawa the Losung. Jengawa the Lung. Chang Losung. Okay. So then we have a quote from Jengawa, and that's number 8. It says, "Honorable teachers, how many bodies have you taken from beginningless time? Now, since you have never practiced the Mahayana teachings, you must apply yourself assiduously." And then Sampua says, "In this cyclic existence, there are many turns of fortune for better and for worse. Do not stake your hopes on it. Until you give rise to this kind of thinking, after you have developed it, you must continually sustain it in meditation." So I think we're ending there. Chutsu ngaba lesson. Chutsu je dan karma ngapju ngango.
Oh, that's
okay. So we are out of time, and we'll go back, Rinpoche said, to that outline and look at the specific start and end points again in the next class, just to make sure that we got them correct. And this is me translating for Rinpoche to make sure that we got them correct. So we'll do the concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. Thank you, everybody, for coming again. Thank you for your patience with me. The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun, and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. I dedicate whatever virtues I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri and likewise Samantabhadra as well. With whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse the 3 times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land, surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness, all-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso, may you stay until samsara's end. Pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wandak, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, the spiritual friend, extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts, with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Suji Rum Jigutsu Shabi Denralang Atsu Lamrim Chenmo